It's Joe and
Jamie
Jamie in
in
the
the
morning.
morning.
Welcome, Fort Mill Church of God Student Ministries, for another Connect Time. I'm Joe Pacheco. This is Jamie Pacheco,
Hi.
filling in for the great Bishop Stephen Dover. Just happy to be here with you guys, spend some time with you. We miss seeing you guys, and definitely can't wait to be able to hug your neck again when it's totally okay.
Yes.
But not before. So today we're going to jump into and just talk and continue what Stephen was talking about the last few weeks here, and that's heroes are heroic in ordinary moments, and how that translates to us. So we've all seen the movie Thor Ragnarok, right, where Thor is in the battlefield and the Incredible Hulk can actually talk, right? So the Incredible Hulk is some superhero in this on this planet, and Thor gets there, and you see that Thor is actually trying to find his way back, and they end up fighting and bickering. Thor doesn't. I mean, the Incredible Hulk doesn't want to go back, and they keep on fighting and yelling and joking, and finally coming to the part of reconciling. So if you haven't seen the movie, definitely a good watch. But if you have, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
We hope that you've never been in a fight with someone that involves having a mental shield, a metal shield hurtle at you. But I'm guessing there have been at least a few times where you have had someone you care about and you were really angry with each other. Well, this month we've been talking about how heroes embrace their unique identities, take care of others, know they can save the world alone.
Oh no, actually, you can't save the world alone.
Just seeing if you're paying attention.
I'm paying attention. I promise.
To help us learn these lessons, we've looked at the original stories of some of our favorite superheroes. There's a lot to love about those stories, like action stories, characters, and definitely the joke. So, when there's a tense situation between friends, it can get a little crazy, it can get a little angry, but as long as you're reconciling, it does work out in the end. Perfect example, I'm going to tell the Walmart story.
Go ahead, you always do.
We went to Walmart and I said, hey, I'm going to go get a buggy. And I went one direction and he went another direction. So when I went back to where I thought we were going to meet at, here I am standing there with the buggy, and he comes with a shopping cart because he hates when I call, as you call it, a shopping cart buggy. So that started a little bit of a rift between me and Joe. Then, here we are. He says, you know what, Jamie? I want to get chicken for dinner. So it's all the chicken that's on display. He wanted me to get all of it, but he just said, get the chicken, and he walked off. So I got half of the chicken that they had. It was a late night sale, so when we're ringing up, he realized that I had 2 big bags of chicken and not 4. He exploded.
We have 6 people to feed, and 2 bags of chicken aren't gonna fill us all. Remember, towards the end of the shift, Walmart ends up throwing away or discounting their food. So waste not, want not, my theory.
But I don't like Walmart chicken.
That sounds like a personal problem.
So he got mad. He yelled. I yelled. Kids looked at us. I think they was a little uncomfortable, but at the end of the day, we laughed because it was a huge explosion for was it 48 hours?
Yeah, it was a good 2 days.
Over Walmart chicken and a buggy.
Well, discounted Walmart chicken. And a shopping cart.
Oh my gosh. But I mean, at the end of the day, we can tell this story, and there's a little humor to it because it did help us reconcile. And maybe right in the middle of the screaming match, we both realized how ridiculous we were. And we did burst into laughter, not to each other's face, but we did eventually. And even after we had the fight, we still share this funny story about how chicken and Walmart brought us back together after a disagreement. Sometimes during a disagreement, it's amazing at how much can be solved by laughter and having fun together. So,
sometimes a joke isn't enough. Sometimes you need to work harder to reconcile with someone you care about. When you think about heroes, we often think about saving the world in big ways, like defending the planet from aliens or preventing evil villains from destroying the city. But in real life, being a hero is more about what you do in the ordinary moments. Heroes are courageous, strong, compassionate, and driven to make wrong things right in the world. Sometimes the best way to do it is by owning our mistakes and reconciling with someone we've hurt, even if we didn't mean to hurt them.
I mean, there are plenty of scriptures where God or one of God's people tells us how to handle things when we hurt someone. When you hurt someone we've hurt, it's really hard work to say, I'm sorry. But the key is to healing is to acknowledge what you did. So sometimes, like for example, Thor apologized and corrected the hurtful things he said. Like Joe apologized and corrected the hurtful things he said, and so did I. Hulk accepted his apology. Like, I accept I'm going to be Hulk and you can be Thor.
That's fine.
So I accepted his apology
I
because
wouldn't trust you with a hammer.
he was mad at the chicken. So Thor shared a hurtful thing Hulk had done to him. It offends me because I like to call the shopping carts buggies.
Even though it's not the proper name for it.
And I don't like Walmart chicken and you wanted me to get it off.
You could have had something else to eat.
But Hulk apologized and shared how he felt. He likes a lot of chicken.
I just like food.
And we came to a common ground. But it's how you define reconciliation. How is reconciliation different from a simple apology or forgiving? When was the last time you had to reconcile with someone and how did it go? What do you think the most difficult thing about reconciliation was? I mean, I could share more passages of scriptures specifically about apologizing, forgiving, or reconciliating. But instead, I want to share a bigger principle about how we were called to treat each other. As I do, think about it. Who do you need to reconcile with? How is this passion or this passage related to that person? In the book of Luke, we read about a time when a lawyer tried to trap Jesus into saying something that would upset religious authorities of that day. But Jesus wasn't fooled. It's almost like this lawyer was asking Jesus, how much can I get away with and not be in trouble? Like, what's the bare minimum that I can do to please God? Jesus flips the question over and says, in a way that to please God is simple. Love your neighbor as you would love yourself. But loving your neighbor is not simple or easy. Because this man was an expert in the Jewish law, Jesus knew he understood the reference to the Shema, an ancient prayer of God's people. This prayer is often repeated throughout the Old Testament. It's called the Shema, which is the Hebrew word for listen. And it is the first command in the prayer. The second command is the word
love. Listen to God and love God. Isn't it interesting that listen comes first? In order to love God, we must first listen to God. Maybe by listening and loving,
God.
we can absolutely, but we can learn to listen to and love others as well. Now back to the story. The lawyer wasn't totally satisfied with Jesus' answer to love God and his neighbor. So he asked, well, who is my neighbor?
There's no doubt the Samaritan man is the hero of the story. He noticed a need, showed compassion, and saved the man's life. But the Samaritan didn't set out to be the hero. He just simply saw a need and met it. Other people saw the same need but passed by. The Samaritan man saw and then loved. He was heroic in an ordinary moment. Have you ever seen someone in need but ignored them? Let's be more specific. Have you ever seen someone get hurt by your words and action but ignore the problem?
All you middle school kids, I know you have.
Just like the Samaritan man saw a wrong and made it right, Jesus' own ministry is filled with seeing wrongs and making them right. Jesus saw the man who had been paralyzed since birth, and he made the wrong right by healing him. He saw two men who hadn't heard yet about the goodness of Jesus, what he was offering. He righted the wrong by inviting them into a more powerful, purposeful life with him. He saw a crowd of people who needed hope and healing. Jesus righted that wrong by teaching, healing, and encouraging his disciples to do the same. So, in this series, we talk a lot about heroes, right and wrongs. But all of the wrongs we have talked about have been wrongs our heroes didn't create. So, what happened when our heroes caused harm or hurt someone intentionally or not?
Heroes are known for righting wrongs, but sometimes the hardest wrongs to right are the wrongs we've caused. Everyone wants to be the heroes in situations when they are, there's a big flashy moment that they can kind of swoop in, have that nice, hero pose, or when everyone notices and applause, or even when they get all the glory and none of the blame. But real heroes know the most heroic things happen when you're in the wrong, no matter how small, or hardly anyone notices but you and God. Or you take responsibility and work to right your own wrongs. Real heroes that small know that real heroes know that small acts of real heroes know that small acts of heroism sometimes require the most sacrifice, courage, and strength. Real heroism isn't about extraordinary acts or of sacrifice or dramatic moments of bravery or great hero poses.
So, who is your neighbor? For starters, your neighbor is the person you can't stand. It could be also the person that can't stand you, the person you're fighting with right now, or the person you haven't talked to for a while because they're still angry or hurt because of what you said. When we fight with our neighbors, it's easy to start putting up fences between them and us, like bitterness, anger, silence, guilt, fear, and revenge. The more time passes, the bigger the fence becomes between us. The bigger the fence becomes between us, the more difficult it is for us to see each other. Thanks to Jesus' example, we now know how important it is to see each other. If we can't see each other through all of our differences and angers and bitterness, we'll struggle to clearly see the wrongs that we need to be made right. So, what about you? Are there any fences separating you and a neighbor? And what are the wrongs you need to make right in your relationship? What fences do you need to heroically climb in order to reconcile with someone that you've hurt? Why do you think reconciliation is heroic? I mean, like, how is reconciliation with someone that you've hurt similar to the story of the Good Samaritan? Or how is it different? Why is it important to see the person we've hurt in order to reconcile with them? And what do we need to see? Why do you think sometimes it's difficult to see the way we've hurt or wronged others? What are some ways that we can begin to see hurt we've hurt or the hurt we've caused more clearly?
So, how do we reconcile with someone who feels hurt or is angry with us? Even if both feel angry or hurt, someone needs to make the first move towards reconciliation. If you would want to be heroic, let it be you. How do you reconcile? Easy. 2 words: admit and apologize. Admit how you hurt them, then apologize. Don't make it all about you. Don't defend yourself, and don't tell them not to be hurt or angry. If they also hurt you, you can share that, but don't use that as an excuse to not take ownership in what you've done. This week, let's do something heroic. Let's change and choose to reconcile with someone who we've hurt, and right that wrong that we've caused. For you, it may look something like, "Hey, friend, I'm really sorry. I said some things that were really hurtful, and it was wrong of me to say them. I'm going to try and be a better friend to you. Can you forgive me for hurting you?" Or, "Hey, Dad, I want to apologize for being disrespectful. Uh, I know the other day I was hurtful, and I'm sorry I wasn't able to express my feelings better. I'm trying to get better at saying the things I need to say and want to say in a way that's not disrespectful because I appreciate you." Apologies don't guarantee healing and reconciliation, but your apology may get rejected, or the relationship might be beyond repair, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't try to right the wrongs you've made. I know it's not easy to be the first person to apologize from experience, but that's exactly why we're talking about it. It's not easy, but it's exactly what a hero would do.
Is there someone you need to apologize to? Who is it? And what are the steps you're going to take this week to reconcile with them? This is our last week in this series. And
Origin stories.
uh,
Yeah.
and the last few weeks, we've talked about a lot of things. How heroes embrace who God made them to be. Heroes care for the people in front of them.
Heroes are stronger when they're on a team. Heroes are heroic in ordinary moments. Heroes right wrongs. Heroes fight for justice. That's what Jesus came to do. This is the mission he's called us to be a part of as well. Most of the time, the kind of heroism God calls us to do is not flashy and is not newsworthy, but it is life changing. It happens one person at a time, one moment at a time, one mission at a time.
It happens when we discover who God made us to be and boldly uses our unique gifts to the benefit of other. It happens when we notice the need of people right in front of us and we get creative to meet those needs. It happens when we work alongside like-minded people who are committed to the same mission that we are committed to. And it also happens in school hallways, in our living rooms, when we commit to restoring and healing relationships we've broken.
Or on a Skype meeting that we've been doing for the last 6 months.
Yes. You're not only capable of being a hero, you're called by God to be one. So will you? How are you going to join Jesus on his mission to save the world? Could today be the start of something new in your faith? Years from now, you could look back and say, today was your
Origin story. All right, guys. Greatly appreciate you. We love you. We miss you. Hopefully, you're having a great start to your Sunday. Remember, we love you. God loves you. Love one another. And just like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Alrighty, we're checking out at
Joe
Joe and Jamie in the morning. Woo!
Ooh.